Okay, it is now time for my second video, and in this video I'm going to be walking you through the statistical procedures that we are going to use in our test to actually compare the people that have different levels of motivation. You know, it's kind of a hard thing to quantify, but we try to come up with some ideas to actually do that. Obviously, this is a little bit rough. This is our first big kind of research project that we have tried to write together. So not all of this might be 100% right, but I feel like Dr. Bowden maybe can give us some suggestions of how we can make this better, how we can make this more statistically relevant or accurate. And if he doesn't, maybe we can send it over to Dr. whatever, the guy with the 2 PhDs in the statistics department, and maybe he can help us out. So what we're going to do at the beginning of this study is as Marie and Sarah have probably told you, we're going to go into YMCAs to recruit people. We thought this would be an ideal place to recruit people for this study for various reasons, which I think they probably told you about by now. But in this statistical walkthrough, I kind of, just for my own sake, as far as actually being able to do the statistics, it was certainly, I'm not that great at it, so I tried to keep it simple. So what I did, I just had a kind of pretend hypothetical study population of 99 individuals, and I said, well, we administer them this questionnaire. That's part of our research project. We give them a questionnaire. I made a sample of that. You know, we've been talking about questionnaire creation in class, and certainly my questionnaire needs a lot of work, but I kind of just did that for fun, for discussion's sake. But we are going to have some sort of questionnaire. I wasn't able to find one. I know that's kind of your cardinal rule. You should find a questionnaire instead of creating your own. I wasn't able to find one that really fit what we wanted to do, so I kind of just figured we'd make up a new one, a new questionnaire for this study. So we administer 99 people this questionnaire. 99 people agreed to participate, and basically for the sake of the walkthrough, I said, well, we're going to classify them as Group 1, high degree of motivation to adhere to a diet, Group 2, medium degree of motivation to adhere to a diet, and Group 3, low level of motivation to adhere to a diet. And those numbers will be obtained from the results of the questionnaire. And basically the way I thought we would be able to divide them up equally is we would take, to get the low range, the Group 3 that aren't that motivated to get to the diet, we would take the lowest 33% of people. So from the first percentile to the 33rd percentile would be the Group 3, the low motivation to diet. Then from the 34th percentile to the 66th percentile, you know, of their actual numbers on that survey that they fill out that tells us how motivated they are to stick to this diet. So from the 34th to the 66th is going to be our Group 2, our medium motivation to adhere to the diet. And then our Group 3, our high degree of motivation, you know, we really do want to diet, and that's what they tell us as a result of the questionnaire that we give them. So the 67th percentile to the 100th percentile, that last third, that's going to be our Group 1, our high degree of motivation to adhere to the diet. So what we're going to do, we're going to divide them up. We're not going to tell them, oh, you're in the bad group, you're in the, you know, the lazy slacker group. We're not going to do that. You know, they are blinded from that. The researchers probably are going to know, but if we could figure out some way to also blind the researchers, that would obviously decrease the biases that could be created in our study. So once they've been divided, they've done this questionnaire, we're actually going to have a small nutritional kind of seminar where we educate them, teach them all with the same information about the amount of calories in food, how to stick to a diet, strategies to stick to a diet, and then each participant in the study is actually going to be kind of prescribed a diet by a certified nutritionist. That's someone we need to recruit for our study. So this person, accounting for their age, their sex, their height, their current weight, their weight loss goals, is going to prescribe to them a diet that is good for their lifestyle, good for their body type. Because obviously we're not just going to compare the kind of concrete calories lost. Oh, you lost 100, I mean, you lost 20 pounds, you lost 30, that's better that you lost 30, right? Well, maybe the person that lost 30 was 400 pounds and needs to lose much, much more. So that's kind of how we're going to do that. After that, we are going to have periodic points of assessment, which Marie and Sarah can tell you about a little bit more, where they've been taught during this nutrition education seminar how to keep track of their calories and the amount of calories that they should be aiming for during this study. So we teach them the amount of calories in certain types of food. We teach them how to use this food journal that we're going to have, and you should have, well, somewhere in my stacks of papers there's a sample of that. But it's going to be real basic. They can either use a paper form, or another thing I was thinking, I thought maybe we could use some sort of kind of innovative, novel approach and actually have a text message based tracking system where they respond to periodic text messages that ask them what have they ate since the last text message. So that's kind of, we haven't really decided which one we're going to do for that. What's going to happen is they're going to keep track of their calories and try to adhere to this diet, and then we are going to periodically see, have you actually been sticking to the diet? Are you eating more calories than the diet says you should? Are you eating less calories than the diet says you should? Or are you eating exactly the right amount of calories as the diet says you should? And it's hard to get exact, you know, a calorie is a small unit of measurement and it's easy to go a little bit over. So we're just looking for more or less, have they been sticking to the diet? So at these assessment points, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the average differentiation of what they've been eating and what they should be eating, and then we're going to do that actually percentage-wise, because some people have higher calorie needs, some people have lower. So we're going to see what percentage of calories are they exceeding their diet by, or what percentage of calories are they not exceeding their diet by, or are they meeting their diet exactly. So at the 5% significance level, you know, you've talked about how that was kind of arbitrarily assigned by the dude sitting in the bar, but, well, we don't have a whole lot else to go by. So we're going to use the 5 alpha equaling 0.05 for our statistical analysis. And what we're going to do, as you can see on this bad boy, is a one-way analysis, one-way ANOVA test, basically. And then we're going to use Tukey's test, which is on the last page, to see, are the groups honestly significantly different from one another? You know, is motivation making a difference in the diet, in their adherence to the diet? So what we did, you can kind of just walk through this. The population, adults participating in the study, that's number one, right? Parameters of interest, mu1, mu2, mu3, and that is the average percentage that they've been exceeding their diet by. So that's, I feel like I'm not being entirely clear on that, so I kind of want to walk through what I mean by average percentage. So that's on this handout, this big packet that I made. Basically what that means, you can go to number 4 and go down to C, and then go to the first, the little I on C, little 1. So basically an example of that is if someone is prescribed a diet of 1,500 calories, and they ate, on average, every day, 1,500 calories. Well, they would be assigned 0. That would be their number. If someone was assigned a diet of, say, 1,500 calories, and they actually ate 2,000 calories in a day, well, what percentage did they exceed their target diet by? And well, the answer is 33% higher, right? So they would have a positive value of 33%, 33.333333% assigned to them. If someone was assigned a diet with a calorie amount of 2,000 calories and they only ate 1,500, well, that's 1,500, right? 25% lower, less than 2,000, so they would have a negative 25 as their number. So then we're going to take these numbers for each study participant, average them up, you know, for the person, and then also average the group, you know, the low motivation group, the medium motivation group, and the high motivation group, and then compare those numbers to one another. So that's where I want to go back to this, to the statistics, and that's where you can see what I've done there, analyzing the 3 populations, their data, and then our null hypothesis. Well, right, we know what a null hypothesis is. Mu1 equals mu2 equals mu3. There's no difference. And then our alternative hypothesis is going to be at least 2 of these groups differ. So you can look at the statistical output that I came up with there. We use the F-test with 2 and 96 degrees of freedom, verified our assumptions, and then found that the rejection region was an F value greater than 3.1, which you can see on there, and then, or you can't see it on there, you can see it on the F-test table. And then our actual F value was almost 41, and our alpha, our P value was very, very low, and you would expect that. I made these data up, so I made sure that they actually did make a difference, but we'll see what actually happens in our real study when we do this in a real population. So our decision, because our p-value was much, much less than alpha, our f-value was in the rejection region, as you would guess, we did reject the null hypothesis, and we did conclude that, well, they're not all equal. There's going to be at least 2 different. So then we need to find out which 2 are different, right? So what we did is we ran Tukey's test, Tukey's honestly significantly different test, and positive values on that, you can see that on the last page, indicate that the two groups do statistically differ, and you can see that all of the groups are different from one another, right? Group 3 is significantly different from Group 2, Group 1 is different from Group 2, so they all do differ statistically, and we can conclude with 95% confidence that level of motivation in our study did, and you can see that it did increase the ability of people to adhere to their diet, or not the ability, but the outcome, the level at which they did adhere to their diet. So that's the statistics. I'm going to come back with another video that will discuss my journal articles that I identified.